time, I think I will love or appreciate myself if I felt that I was adequately there for someone. If someone is like, oh, that's what I needed. Like, that was really what I needed. I feel so good about it. But you know that whole thing of like, don't boast, don't feel too much.
Does it result in you thinking, I love you, missing?
I don't know how many things do that to you. No, not I love you, it's just like, oh girl, that was good. Like I'll feel good about it. You know.
And what do you love about yourself?
You must get a job. Damn.
Even the look in your answers of did you say
I mean, I love me. So what I'm going to do then, because it's usually so difficult for people to accept compliments or to say what they're proud of or what they're good at, I'm going to ask you guys questions. I can answer them too. And you have to just answer them on camera to the world, basically. Okay? So,
Start sharing.
Start sharing.
Most proud moment, or what are you most proud of yourself?
What are you most proud of yourself?
I think
or proudest moment, whichever one comes to mind.
I'm most proud of and this is a tough thing, but I'm most proud of who I aspire to be, so the values that I try and live towards. That's what I'm most proud of. So I'm most proud when I get that right. So both the values, but also the type of person. When I feel like I'm leaning in the direction of the woman of my dreams, cliche as it sounds. That woman is a woman who values people. So I really am passionate about making a difference in the world and valuing both my family, but also people, humanity, and being part of a movement to instill value for mankind. And
what's your greatest achievement?
My greatest achievement is, so you want me to say an actual
thing? Say an actual thing. I think that was a scapegoat. It's about people. It's like, no, my trees. Come back on camera, child.
Who's the woman?
This is incredibly rough.
The woman I changed.
What is she attract?
So I think my greatest achievement is actually finishing my manuscript.
Yeah.
That's my greatest achievement. Yeah.
Oh, that's so exciting.
So that's my greatest achievement.
That's incredible. That's the woman of her dreams. Finishes what she starts.
Yeah.
So Misu?
I actually realized I have a few proud moments, but one of the proudest moments is when I got into medicine. Honestly, for me, that was everything. Because I mean, the journey before, you know, doing a degree first and then finishing that and then being like, oh Lord, I really want to get into medicine. And it's a proud moment. And I mean, it's always a delicate balance of really knowing that it was God that opened that door for me. But also being very proud that I stuck it out and I've stuck it out this whole time. So, yeah, and also I think I'm very proud of the fact that I'm tenacious. Like I think I'll go for it, I'll push, not just in medicine obviously, but like even in life, even things that I'm given as tasks, even if I have to, whatever it is, like family, the way that I'll love you with tenacity, I'll stay, I'll be there, I'll push, right?
And you'll be like, have I done enough? And I'm like, you've done everything! You tried and you let them go!
Okay. So, yeah. And you, what are you most proud of?
What am I proud of? In 2014, I was part of SAWP, the Southern Washington International Program. And it's a group of 14 young, dynamic, great young leaders. And at the end of it, they had to vote for someone whom they thought in the year espoused attributes of tenacity, humility, enthusiasm, motivation, balance, and integrity. And it's called the Tembi Losi Leadership and Legacy Award. And I don't know, like I think it was such a massive moment for me because I think primarily because Tembi was my friend, and most of the people in the group didn't know that she was my friend, and so the vote wasn't like we voted for her because it means a lot to her, but it was just amongst people that I'd worked with like very strenuously throughout the year. for them to be like, we give this to you. And which was what was interesting is that like I didn't even take the award home. It was so difficult for me to like, to embrace it.
Yeah.
I guess also because of like a very delicate balance of winning something that's named after somebody that you loved, right? Like, and just, so that was really hard. And now like a few years later, I'm like, actually I want my award. Like, I actually want to keep it in my house. But that was like an incredibly important moment and affirming moment in my life. That's one. Yeah. The second, I think, in terms of attributes, in 2013, I'm like naming data. 2013, one of my friends and I wanted to go to One Young World in America, and we tried so hard to get this money, blah, you know, like. And I think what I really liked about, so I didn't end up going, but I did everything in my power to go. Like, I left no stone unturned. Went to Joburg on the day thinking I was going to get money, which I didn't get. But I didn't have a plan of where I was sleeping. It was crazy. It was a little bit like broken, like very chaotic. But what I loved about it at the end, I remember sitting at the airport and saying goodbye to her. She was leaving for America. I just had my bags, not sure where I was sleeping. I loved the fact that I took the risk, and it felt like whether it happened or not, I had faith in you, God. I knew that you had the, and what was crazy afterwards, I ended up going home, and it was my mom's like, there was a big celebration, then drove back with a friend of mine, and it was this incredible moment. Like, it didn't matter that it didn't work out. It was, I tried and I gave it my all, I broke a bone, and it was good, you know? Yeah, so that was really good for me. Second question around self-kindness. What do you say to yourself that affirms you? What statement or words of encouragement do you say to yourself to lift yourself up?
So I do some strange things sometimes. And I don't know if you guys also do this, but you know when you have to move, let's say you want to move a document from one mailbox to another one, so you have to email it to yourself. What I always do is I always be super nice to myself, like, hi Victoria, you can do it, you've done it before, you can do it again, you know. You are capable, you are more than capable, you know. Yeah, stuff like that, like things that, but it's interesting though, why do, it's easy to type it, but when I have to say it.
Do you look at yourself in the mirror, hi baby girl?
I don't speak to myself in the mirror, but that's what I do, I mostly send myself that, or I'll think on, wow, it's so hard to separate it from God.
Yeah.
Because my mind is aware that I'm like, oh Lord, you will help me. But at the same time, that balance of also, you are also able. You are also able.
Yeah.
God has given you the strength.
Push. Yeah, and for you?
So my 25th birthday this year, I decided to write 25 letters to myself.
Oh my God.
So I was actually, I think I told you about this, so I was actually reading some of them, and like some of the letters are affirmations, so things like, you're doing well, then listing the things that I'm proud of, but also things about who I am, so things like, you're kind, you're generous, you're beautiful, don't forget that, or things like, don't forget that you don't need a unanimous vote when it comes to your dreams and the things God's placed in your heart, and trust yourself, trust your passion, and all these affirming words around just both who I am, but also who I dream of being. So affirming words, just reminding myself that you're doing good and celebrating the past 25 years. So I try to write about some of the things that I'm proud of. So remember when you said you really wanted to do this the first year you started working, so travel overseas. And the first year I started working, I went to Paris and Rome with a friend of mine. So things like that, where it's like, when you do put your mind to things that you want, you actually do them. But you don't stop to be like, beginning of the year I said I'm gonna do it, and now it's done.
What would you guys say are some like important steps towards greater self-kindness?
I think the first one would be being quick to forgive yourself. We were saying earlier, sometimes to be able to excuse some of the things and know that they don't define you. Right? So being quick to say, okay, fine, that's just not me, it happened, let's move on, right?
Behavior versus identity.
Behavior versus identity, performance versus identity as well, right? So just being quick to forgive yourself, I think that's a very helpful step in self-love.
I think boundaries, which continues to be a struggle for me personally as well. So knowing yourself and knowing the things that give you energy and trying to create buckets for that in your life, and not feeling guilty that you could be, being with friends, or you could be working towards some goal or whatever, but feeling comfortable with I get energy from taking walks in a park. Let me do that, and let me prioritize that. So when I feel like I'm burning out, let me prioritize myself and choose myself sometimes, which feels like a hard choice, you know, in the balance of wanting to be the type of person who gives and wanting to depend on the strength of Christ and your relationships and all these things, but also to say, let me ensure that I'm healthy and in a good state of mind so that I can love people better, so that I can be there better, so that I can be willing to be there and not just doing it out of doing acts, so more mechanical than my heart is there and I want to be with my friends and I want to enjoy them, versus, guys, actually I want to be alone.
Actually, no, I don't want you to come over.
Yeah, so boundaries, I think, is important.
Yeah. Of that, I think for me, planning is also an act of self-kindness, because I find like if I have no routine, if I have no plan or like vision of what's going to happen, how's it going to happen, then I end up nothing ends up happening. And then you end up doing, if you don't have a plan, someone always has a plan for you, that's the other thing. So what we're doing is we're going to, no, that's not my plan. So when you don't have a plan, you can't create boundaries, right? Like you can't be like, I don't have that time. So which means you end up pouring yourself into tasks or activities that waste your time in terms of like your own priorities. And I think whenever you have to do whenever your priorities are not clear and you're doing what you're not supposed to be doing, it will always feel like people are taking more from you than what you can give.
Yeah.
Whereas if the boundary was clear because you planned it and you had a strict idea of what you're doing, then you do it more willingly. It's like, oh, I've already done what I needed to do. Yeah, sure, I'll come over.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
And I think also what might be a bit like paradoxical is actually sometimes self-kindness and self-love is allowing yourself to be vulnerable to people around you. So what do I mean? I mean, sometimes to be kind to yourself, you need to allow others to be kind to you. So if someone knows, it's like if someone knows that your shortcomings, but also your strengths, and you have people who are speaking into that, who are kind of lifting up your eyes, also helping you, like, hold on, man, you know. I think it's also just it's extending kindness to yourself by allowing those words to flow from those people into you.
Yeah.
To a moment, up until a point where you feel like, no man, this is true for yourself. So that vulnerability, I think, is as tough as vulnerability is, we all know, but I think it's really an impactful way to love yourself, to be kinder to yourself.
That's so true.
And allow words to wash over you. Allow words to wash over you. When someone says, this is beautiful, you've done really well, allow it to wash over you. I mean, I guess we're preaching to the choir. I mean, we all know we need to hear this, right? But honestly, I think we need to allow them, because I mean, when someone is saying something to you, forget the intention sometimes, forget, I'm not sure, just let the words wash over you and absorb what you think, you know, is worth staying, so.
That's good.
That's so good. Yeah, so that's the end of our conversation today. If you are about this channel, FriendsChatZA, subscribe right below. See, they're not being kind to me, guys. And see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Love yourselves this week.
Yeah.
It's a clean.